Welcome to the February 22nd meeting of the Rotary Club of Lowell. I'm Kevin Lynch, President of the club and Paul Harris Fellow. And providing invitation today is Cliff Ashford, partner at Pittsburgh Show. Checking last minute messages there.
I wrote this out.
Thank you all. Today I ask that you join me in this request to the higher power of your choice. Lord, in a world with fractured media, algorithmically tailored ads and content, and many other forces reminding us of our differences and pushing us apart down a million different rabbit holes, we ask that you call us, remind us to look at the world with unburdened eyes and to see the common humanity of our fellow Rotarians, our co-workers, and any and all that we encounter. We ask that you call us, remind us to see past the distinctions that can cause so much strife in the world and allow us instead to approach the world with a welcoming spirit of acceptance, compassion, and respect. Amen.
Thanks, Cliff, that's really good. Leading us to the pledge before we test is Julie Schmidt, Senior Director of External Affairs at KBT, Paul Harris Fellow, one of the best dark presidents ever.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test, the things that we think, say, and do.
Is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Just let me introduce your guest over there. Introduce yourself first, then your guest's name, company, and title.
President Kevin, Rick Harney, retired but active Rotarian. I want to introduce guests who are visiting Rotarians from the Scottsville, Kentucky Rotary Club. Marilyn and Tom Crow are with us today.
President Kevin, Nancy Director of the University Southeast. It is my pleasure to introduce Chancellor Debbie Ford as a guest this time, and welcome her back to the club.
President Kevin, Treasurer Son, Secretary of Sales, brought three guests with me today, the President and owner of Rotary.com, and Josh Hoffman, our SEO and marketing team, and then the other Executive Director of Sales, Ms. Amy.
President Kevin, fellow Rotarians, I'm Kevin Fields, CEO of CCC, and honored to introduce my guest today, Sean Somerville. Sean holds many distinctions. He's a great community servant, having won the WLKY Bell Award. He's a Bell Award recipient. He's also a two-time recipient of UPS's top award, the Dale Casey Award. And he's also an entrepreneur, the founder and owner of Ebony Greens, which is a golf apparel company. And in his spare time, he works a full-time job for UPS as a building and systems engineer.
President owner of Facilities Management Services and founder of Canopy, and my guest today is Lisa Golden. She is the Director of Customer Relations at FMS.
Good afternoon, President Kevin. I want to introduce Coy Still. He's a senior pastor at Walnut Street Baptist Church.
President of Fred County, my guest today is
Chris Boone. And Chris is a longtime former executive and longtime UPS.
Welcome all guests. By the way, after the meeting, Mr. Merkman and Gasco, if you're able to just one of these Rotary over there, Craig Sherman will tell you a little bit about what this club involves, no more about it. We have a lot of Rotary in the spotlight this week. One of them just stood up a minute ago. Congratulations to Scott Collins, who recently started in Mount Kilimanjaro. He reached the rural peak at Tanzania, which stands at 19,341 feet. I've run a lot of days, it's very, very difficult. We were climbing Mount Canyon, which is a couple dozen feet lower. They're both on the equator. We got a really bad snowstorm, and think about it, around the equator in the storm. Congratulations to Dr. Swanee Jet for being named Global Business First Top 50. He was 5 on the rise for this year. The designation recognizes the city's emerging influencers. Gil Holland and his wife got us a couple times recognized recently. One was for the Forbes magazine article about Lulu, which credits, rightfully so, credits them with sparking progress in the whole Lulu area renovation. The rebuilding one of the first properties there to get started. Maggie Harlow will be the featured speaker at the March 6th Venture Connections Luncheon. She'll discuss breaking barriers and bridging gaps every day and every month. Dan Maloney needs your support. You gotta vote for Dan. Louisville Zoo is nominated for Best Zoo in the U.S. Okay, how about that? And Best Zoo Exhibit for Glacier Run, which really is pretty neat. You can vote daily, by the way, through Monday, March 4th at noon. So every day, every Monday, every day at noon, get your cell phone out and vote for Dan and you at the Louisville Zoo. Winners announced on March 15th. Congratulations to Mackenzie White on being selected to the Leadership Global Center 2024 Alice Houston Women's Leadership Program. The Leadership Global Committee also announced members of the 2024 Elevate Women's Leadership Council. That includes Rotarians Kim Halbauer and Maggie Harlow again, and Elon Smith. The participants of the Alice Houston Women's Leadership Program will benefit from mentorship with these influential women leaders during the 6-month program. Past club president, and one of the best darn presidents ever, Gene West, half the time is now in Aruba. We'll be speaking at the South Poland Rotary Club Park. I guess this is probably the first stop for her worldwide tour from Aruba. It's tomorrow, February 23rd, 7:30 in the morning, so wake up early, guys, and go there tomorrow. It's at the Olin County Arts Center. Get our South Poland Rotary Club that she's speaking to. She'll be discussing our work with Kentucky Waterways and the West Little Housing Initiative and everything. The meeting after the meeting today, the Gun Violence Reduction Committee, which has been doing a lot of work with us for several months, will meet in the boardroom with Special Guest Representative Joshua Singer, Suicide Prevention Program Manager at the VA Medical Center. Please join your interest in being part of this committee. We're hoping to have a Rotary Day at the Ballet on Saturday, March 2nd. Great visit at the opera the other day. So the ballet is Romeo and Juliet at Whitney Hall, 2 o'clock on March 2nd. The big advantage is we have an opportunity for a backstage show beginning at 12:30. We clear regular, we need a certain number to sign up to make that happen. We did it at the opera, it's really fascinating backstage. Please let the league know by tomorrow if you'd be interested in attending this. Also, tickets for our Rotary Day for Downs on Wednesday, May 1st, that's a Wednesday before Derby. Our clubs are selling out, so don't wait if you want to join us. The slip stop there, which is a great look over the paddocks as well as you get to see the races that we want to. Look for details and registration links to Weekly Sparks and on our website. I'd like to welcome to the podium Roland Blythe, major donor and member of the District and Club International Service Committee. Roland?
Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Rotary International Project. 2017, Larry Sloan, and I attended something called the Rotary Safari, put together by a Rotarian from California, who is very, very familiar with Kenya. So we went to Kenya and became somewhat aware. And I've been involved in the international committee work for a long time before 2017. It goes back to the 1990s, but never really had personal hands-on experience with it until much later. At this point in Kenya, our club, if you've had anything to do with the Rotary Foundation, you send money to the Rotary Foundation, you send money to the Rotary Fund. If you've done either one of those, you've been part of helping 33,000 people in Kenya get access to potable drinking water and other health services. So we can move on to the next slide. I met this group as well. I took this picture of these children when I went on Rotary Safari in 2017, and we went to a little village in called Lake Rosinga Island. And so I snapped this picture, and in this community, these children did not have potable drinking water. Put the next slide on, please. Next slide on. There it is. This was one of the source. This is the source of the drinking water. You can see here. I took a picture of the people with their cans to fill up their drinking water. This is Lake Victoria, which has many bad things in it anyway. But if we go to the next slide, this is just down a little ways down the shore. They're doing their washing and so on and so forth. And this is this major source of water for this community in 2017. The next year, we, this is further on the tour, you can see it, just let's sit on that slide. We visited some projects. This is one of the water projects, putting water. Anyway, we had the opportunity then, 2018, this club committed to joining to provide a water project in Kenya. And those young children, just put the last slide on, those young children who gained water, drinking water. This is another school project. And the next slide, and that's the last slide. These young children now, 2 years later, after this picture was taken, had potable drinking water available to that village. So they can go and hopefully avoid many of the diseases you'll get from trying to drink water in Lake Victoria. These kinds of projects are available. Like, I know there's another Rotary Safari going on this year, actually, for anybody who wanted to join that. They contact me, I can put them in touch with them. There's other opportunities to become informed, too. I know South America and Central America have project fairs every year, so you can attend those. Rick Carney can certainly give you information on those. So these kinds of opportunities are there. You just kind of open your eyes and wait for them. Sometimes you can use your vacation, sometimes you veg out, but a new experience is one of these kinds of ideas. And the way these projects have come together is people donate to the Rotary Foundation International, and they provide a secure blanket, if you will. They've actually funneled some of the money that we sent to them back to our district, where money becomes available. Our club, mostly through the Rotary Fund, provides funds to start projects. You start with the local money that we as Rotarians provide. Some of that money then goes to that money can go to our local commitment, the foundation money that we send to the International Foundation, and some of that comes back to the district. So it all kind of comes together. And when you're doing these international projects, you start realizing how important supervision and collaboration is. And the supervision is provided by the Rotary Foundation, and I've gained great confidence over the years that their team knows what they're doing and makes sure you don't run afoul and lose your money, and they make sure it stays on the project. So I just wanted to share that with you today and encourage you to participate in the Rotary Foundation.
Thanks for all you do with that, Roland, and everybody else. There is still a matching gifts campaign for the district that extends through March 24th for people donating to the Rotary Foundation. I'd like to invite Ken Salvage to the podium, General Manager of ESPN Louisville, Paul Aristello, and incoming President-elect of our club.
Thank you, President Kevin. Bill Moore is also rising to honorary, so congratulations. Bill started as an intern in flight safety at UPS 31 years ago and begins his sixth year, 6th month, next Friday, as the president of UPS Airlines, responsible for UPS's global air operations and the UPS World Board right here. He previously served as Vice President of UPS Aircraft Management and Engineering, where he was responsible for ensuring the airline ran smoothly, focusing on safety, regulatory compliance, fleet availability, reliability, and aircraft performance. Those were his priorities. As President, he continues the airline's focus on being a leader in safety and performance. He'll join UPS after receiving a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, joining the aircraft performance engineering team shortly after that, and taking on positions of increasing responsibility throughout his UPS career. He has an MBA from Indiana Wesleyan University, an FAA airframe and power plant license, and he currently serves as a member of the board of directors for Volunteers of America. Indiana native with 2 sons. Come on up. Glad to have you. The impact UPS has on this community is unbelievable. Give us some of the highlights, how you impact this. I mean, there are numerous, but
yeah, you're right. This community is, in giving back, is wildly important to our company as well as our employees. A couple of the big ones that come to mind are last year we gave $300,000 to the Goodwill Opportunity Campus to help with their job readiness program. So that was pretty big. Also gave in prior years $500,000 to the West End Opportunity Partnership to help with some of their transformational activities that they had going on in that community. So that's just a couple of them. But of the 24,000 UPSers that work right here in Louisville, they donated over 67,000 hours last year and over $1 million in funding to priorities of their own that they get left. So it's really important to UPS and our employees that live here.
I know Adria's here through the years. You guys have been an amazing supporter of United Way. My Kentucky Derby Festival hat, I know we couldn't do Thunder without your sponsorship. And Thunder's kind of a big deal in the community. But just
I'm not sure what it is.
the jobs that you provide too for the community, for folks, and the education you provide, I think is so impactful too.
Yeah, it's very impactful. Like I said, the largest employers in the city and close to being the largest in the entire state. Yeah, it is impactful, and we're able to do that by programs that we partnered with University of Louisville and our local government through our Metropolitan College program. And what an outstanding opportunity. If any of you have college-age students at home that you're looking to get their college tuition paid for, we have a job for them. All they have to do is come to UPS and work 3.5 hours a night on our next day side. And that's that. Tell them that later. And we pay for college 100%. Pay for the salary, plus free healthcare benefits. It's an amazing opportunity that we provide. And frankly, we're dependent upon that program in order for us to staff our hub.
Yes, I think somebody was telling me the other day, thank you for the fresh fish you provide every day. Flowing here.
And hopefully some of you in this room recently received some really nice flowers that were also.
Yes, the COVID shots right after that was pretty helpful.
That was, that was a transformational run in our company. In such a dark time during our world history, I think you'd say, it was maybe one of the brighter points in our company history where our employees really rallied around being the first to deliver those vaccines to the world. And, I guess you could say we're proud to have delivered over 1 billion of those now today.
That's amazing.
But it really brought our company together in a way that I hadn't seen in my 30 years about we started to really treat not just as a package, but as a patient, and really kind of give that care to every package that came down our road.
It was needed. All right, so safety, reliability, performance is your thing. How do you ensure that with the aircraft fleet, which is a big one?
Yeah. So we talk about safety all the time, and we try to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. We have a strong safety culture. We promote all the time. If you see something, say something. Do something about being intentional to avoid any of those issues. There's no operational pressures to call timeout and say, we need to take a second look. We make sure that our employees understand that. So that's a big piece of allowing us to be so successful. But also in the aviation industry, as many of you would expect, we're highly regulated by the FAA. And that requires a number of required audits, inspections, and oversight that we have to comply with, and we're audited too, both internally and externally. So it's just that constant safety-minded culture, trusting but verifying through our audits, and then just monitoring our daily metrics to make sure we hit those targets.
Well, the holidays that today's show showcases a story with you and your team. Their mission was to show how quickly and efficient a package goes from the time someone clicks on the computer, buys something, to the time it arrives at their house. Walk us through that strategic process, the volume that's running through Worldport and globally, and the increasing demands for fast and efficient e-commerce deliveries.
Yeah, that was a really cool segment to be a part of. Hopefully some of you got to see that, but Nikki Newman from NBC was great. And the idea was, how do you demystify clicking, as many of us do at home when we order a package, and how does it show up? So she did that from her office, or from her office in Rockefeller Plaza. And how did it get returned to her? And we were on the clock, right? They did it live, real time. We gotta make sure we get this one, right? So she ordered a package, and it showed the fulfillment all the way from the center in Chicago, came to Louisville, sorted through Worldport, put on one of our airplanes, delivered to JFK, and then we successfully made it across the bridge and delivered to her office. I think, no, it's actually to her home in New York. So it was really neat how they showed that. And it also allowed us the opportunity to highlight our strong partnership with some of our key enterprise customers like Macy's, who we've been their provider for many, many years. So it was great to celebrate that relationship also.
It was a good story. Worth it. So UPS is building out the network of the future, and what's that going to look like? There are key areas of investment, technological advancements, industry trends you see coming in the years ahead for air cargo transportation.
Yeah, that is a key piece of our strategic initiatives moving forward. We announced that during our investor call a couple of weeks ago. We are going to have and host 200 analysts from around the country here in Louisville next month, where we're going to detail all of those plans to those investors. So stay tuned. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder.
Give us an insight.
It's automation group. Yeah.
That was one of the questions. Are you approaching automation in cargo handling and operations?
Yeah. So as you can imagine, Worldport being the size that it is our largest facility in the world, but it's also our most automated facility in the world. And has to be, right? When you think about what comes through Worldport every night, it has to be sorted in 4 hours. So during peak season, we're sorting 2 million packages in 4 hours. You have to have automation to do that. So we're constantly looking for ways we can do that more efficiently and increase throughput through the building, so we can shrink that window, provide later pickups to our customers, and earlier deliveries on the backside. So we're constantly testing robotics. We have some projects going on now in the building that we're looking at, and trying to figure out how can we make it safer, for one, but more efficient also. So a lot of activity in that space.
UPS workers approved a new 5-year deal last year. How has that impacted your workforce, your retention, your recruiting?
Yeah. Very, very glad we got through that. You all may have heard about that a little bit. We knew going into that it was going to be loud, and it was late. It was going to be late, and it was both of those things. But fortunately, we were able to come to a win-win-win agreement with our team employees, who are 340,000 of our 500,000 employees across the United States. So we're very proud of that contract. We rewarded those drivers and package handlers for the hard work that they do for us every day. In many cases, they're the face of our company. Many of you probably have them delivered to your home and know who those drivers are personally. So it was important for us to make sure we reward them for the hard work they do, but also make sure we can remain competitive and have the flexibilities to do some of the things we're talking about in order to continue to provide those jobs in the future. Certainly, it's helped with retention. You've heard about that. At the end of the 5-year agreement, our drivers will have the opportunity to earn $170,000 a year. Pretty good, right? They earn it. They work hard. So that's helped with retention. It also, frankly, has helped us through some of the other challenges when workforce was maybe not as easy to obtain. Folks want to come to UPS and they want to stay here.
Any concerns this year should we have about layoffs here?
We, as we also announced during our investor call a couple weeks ago, we are announcing 12,000 layoffs. Spoke about the very high volume times during COVID. Our company was here. It's returning to normalcy a little bit, and that's caused us to frankly take a reduction in $9 billion in revenue reduction over last year, the beat. So in order to match activity to expense, we've had to make some of those unfortunate decisions to part ways with 12,000 UPS. That's across the enterprise. Right? That's not just here in Louisville. There's a few here in Louisville who are impacted, but these are things that unfortunately companies go through when you have ups and downs. Hopefully, we'll continue to win back customers and add to our customer base, and we'll continue to hire and bring on new folks as quickly as possible.
You had a pretty big job. Can you walk us through a typical day? There are none, I'm sure.
Yeah, as you can imagine, having global responsibilities around the world, serving 200 countries, there's always a surprise waiting on you, right? But I think the day really is kind of focused in 4 buckets. Safety first, we talked about that, making sure that everybody's safe, our airplanes are safe, we don't have any issues we need to follow up on. After that is service, and really staying close to our customers to make sure we're meeting their expectations. So a fair amount of my day is spent talking to large customers, understanding what their needs are, what are their demands, how can we meet that, where are we falling short, so we can earn and win back more of the business. And then the other half of the day is probably spent on financials, making sure that we are spending our money as effectively as we can, and then people. People takes up a lot of that time too. Talent development. We do have an aging workforce at UPS, so we're constantly looking to build future leaders for the next opportunities. So you could probably put 85 to 90% of my day in those 4 buckets.
Well, what leadership lessons can you impart on us that you've learned through the years of 3 decades of service UPS?
For me, I've shared with folks how I started. Be willing to take risks. raise your hand. It may not sound so appealing to you when you're presented with that opportunity. Take a chance, because you never know where it's going to lead. And frankly, you might not get asked again. I look back at my career at UPS, and I think of 5 opportunities where I had opportunities to change the trajectory of my career. There's not very many that come across where you get that chance. Just say yes. Chances are, if you don't like it, things will change in a couple years anyway. But if you say no, you might not get that chance again. I would not be where I am today had I not taken chances outside of me being very comfortable being an engineer and going into the operation. Had I done that, I wouldn't be here today. So be willing to take risks is what I say.
How do you mitigate challenges, supply chain, geopolitical, weather?
Yeah.
Loan
Fortunately,
issues to it?
loan issues. Fortunately, we have a lot of very talented people in all of those spaces that are close to those people that are engaged in those things. Example, we have our own meteorology department. They are very good at what they do, and they help us be successful every night. Yes, we watch local weather, we have all of that, but they get into more granular detail about when is ice going to hit, because that has an impact on when we de-ice airplanes. How long can we let the de-ice fluid sit on the airplane before we depart? Those start to turn into, clearly we want to make sure the airplane's safe, but financial situation is also about putting $7 a gallon de-ice fluid on airplanes and how long can you do that, right? We have a very extensive communications and global public affairs team who are really close to those folks around the world that are making those decisions and making sure that we're close to them so that they understand what UPS priorities are and how they can help us be successful. So it's about relationships outside of meteorology. It's about relationships, knowing the people, and relying on them when supply chain and things like that happen. Because those are constantly issues that we're going to have to deal with.
Is that evading someone?
Sorry?
Supply chain challenges evading someone?
It's been a challenge, but we planned for that, and we have contingency plans in place to be able to navigate through that. It's certainly been more impactful on others, maybe less than it has for us, but we've had to zig when we wanted to zag, and we were ready for that. So it started to be a little bit better, I think.
Our world's not getting any more peaceful, so how is that impacting some of your routes? Or is it?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Israel. When that outbreak started, we discontinued flying airplanes. Our brown tails in there. We constantly are evaluating that daily about what's safe. We put our equipment and our crew members back in there. As of this morning, we've still decided that it's not safe to put our people back in there. So it's definitely changed. We never flew to Russia or Ukraine. We didn't operate in those. We certainly have UPSers there, but we didn't put airplanes in there. So it's something we got to be mindful of and stay close to every day to make sure we keep those people safe.
A lot of push to innovate on the environmental space. What can you tell us about potential reduced emissions, cleaner aircraft on the horizon?
Yeah, so as a corporation, we've set some pretty aggressive goals to be carbon neutral by 2050. So that's pretty aggressive. We've also set a goal to use alternative fuels in 40% of our vehicles by 2025. So maybe some of you have seen that on our package cars, where it says natural gas. We're also starting to use more electric vehicles in certain parts of the world, particularly in Europe, and even here in some cases on some of our long-haul feeder tractor trailers. And then on the aircraft side, really the big play is sustainable aviation fuel. It's a challenge right now from a supply perspective to get that. It's very difficult to get. It's very expensive. But we've set again an aggressive goal to burn 30% SAF in our airplanes by 2035. So in conjunction with those, we're also retiring some of our more less efficient ND-11 airplanes and replacing them with new 767s, 747-8s, which burn less fuel and then and less emissions and so forth. So it's very important to us, and we have a good strategic vision.
How many aircraft do you have?
It's shy of 300. So we're taking delivery of 8 additional 767s this year, 2 additional 747-8s, and then we're also converting 2 additional passenger airplanes to freighter this year also. So definitely bringing on some more.
How many pilots?
About 1,500, I think. No, excuse me, that's the number of mechanics. Just over 3,000. Yeah, we have 1,500 mechanics and over 3,000 pilots.
Is there a shortage on the horizon, neither one, or do you think you still have abundant possibilities?
There is a shortage in the industry. There's not a shortage of UPS. Yeah. We are considered a destination employer. Very proud of that. A lot of people want to fly for UPS. They don't want to work on UPS airplanes. So while maybe some of the experience levels that we used to be able to attract in the industry, frankly, over the years, has kind of come down. So where we used to hire a 10-year aircraft mechanic, now it's maybe 7. But every class is full when we post the jobs. And I can say that's not the case at some of the other large carriers that many of us fly.
Worldport seems to continue to grow. What's it going to look like 5 years from now? What do you envision?
Yeah, Worldport will always continue to grow because as we adjust our network around the world, we want things to come to Louisville. This is our all points hub. I'm not saying everything goes to Louisville, but a lot goes to Louisville. And so we're always going to have volume coming through here because it's the most efficient. We have the most flights in here, and we can reach those destinations easier than we can anyplace else in the UPS network. So we're going to keep feeding the machine as much as we can. Probably not going to grow the footprint a whole lot because we're starting to get a little bit landlocked. So now we're going to start to improve our automation and our efficiencies and try to get more throughput going through there. During the year, we're pretty good. It's about peak season and solving for those spikes that make that more challenging.
You all have been so impactful to all of us. How could we be impactful to you?
Ship more packages. Actually select UPS as your preferred shipper.
Nobody else.
I don't think there is anybody else.
As I told your associate before we started, the bright lines in here are pretty strong, and they ask such phenomenal questions all the time. Way better than I can do. So if you guys, and I know you have them. Come on, Henry, start. Oh, Cynthia, go. Leadership Louisville. Go for it. It's the head of Leadership Louisville's here. Ladies first.
Hi, Bill. Cynthia with Leadership Louisville.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. So because we have the opportunity to interact with a lot of your fine UPS folks, I have a question about UPS World a little broader. You all had a new CEO like in the middle of COVID, which is a crazy time to change leadership. But what I understand is she's rather remarkable and people kind of love her. And so I'm curious, what do you think her leadership legacy will be for you all? And if we asked her about UPS Airlines, what do you think she would say? Is she excited? What's her big vision for what's going on here?
There's a lot of things that Carol brought to UPS in the short amount of time that she's been here. The first thing that comes to mind is culture. She's really changed our culture in a very positive way. We're a 117-year-old company. We're strong and rich in legacy and culture. But Carol brought us together more closely at a time when we needed it most, probably during COVID. So really impactful there. I think she would say about the airline is it's very special here in Louisville. I get asked a lot of times, in fact, she's asked me, why is it so different in Louisville? Why is the airline so different? Michelle, that's right. I mean, we hear this all the time. And it's really about the people, but it's about a common goal of coming together and making sure we serve. Certainly people feel that way across UPS, but it's different. People in Louisville want to work for UPS. They want to be here, and that just creates a different environment that it's not easily seen in a number of other places outside. So she would say it's very special here.
I'm Judy Hammaker. I have a twofold question. How often do you have packages that are bomb threats or, laced with some kind of poison or whatever? And if you have them, are more of them to blow up the plane, or are they to blow up the destination?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't. We have Customs and Border Control inside World that are scanning and assessing every package that comes through. We have canine units that are throughout the building looking for those things every day. Do we find things? Yes. That's what they're there for, right? When you think about putting 2 million packages through that building a day, probability says there's some bad actors out there that want to do something. But I do think we have very good systems in place and oversight to ensure that those things that you asked about don't happen. So,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
Still up Henry Cox, thanks. Very interesting. What is your source of global mechanics? Great skilled team. Is there, do you recruit in Louisville, and where's the training coming from?
Yeah. So we do have a minimum requirement for an aircraft mechanic, I assume you're speaking about, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have a minimum requirement is that you have to have at least 3 years of what we call heavy jet experience, meaning like the big airplanes that that we fly. So there are students who graduate from JCTS with the FAA aircraft power plant license. My son is a beneficiary of that, and they need to go and work somewhere else to gain that experience before we can consider bringing them back to UPS. So they'll go to JCTCS, graduate, and then go work for a company that may do what we call major maintenance in parts of the world where they'll work on an airplane that's on the ground for 2 weeks or a month. Build up their years of experience, then they can apply and come back. That is one source. The majority of folks that we get have worked at other major airlines for years and have never gotten the opportunity to apply to UPS because it's so hard to get hired. So that's where we get a lot of people is from Delta, American, United, and some of these other places, like I said earlier, about who just want to work on UPS ground tails.
Julie?
Yes, thank you again for being here. And Ken touched on this during COVID with all of those vaccinations. It was such a source of pride for you all, but also for our community and for our state. And I was just curious, do you see some future in pharmacy or a new role in medicine? Because that seems so significant, and I'm just curious about that.
Absolutely, we sure hope so. And that is one of our strategic imperatives, is to grow our critical healthcare business. In fact, many companies have relocated to Louisville because of what we were able to do during COVID with the vaccines. So some of you may have driven down I-65 south and seen some of those warehouses that are not far from what we call end of runway, and position their warehouses there just so they could make the last flight out of Louisville to reach that critical patient wherever they are around the world and get there more quickly. So absolutely, that is a key area that we're investing in. We're one of, if not the largest, one of the largest producers of dry ice in the United States, to be able to package and ship those types of critical shipments.
Larry. I'm Larry Sloan. Bill, thank you so much for coming today. My question is about globalization. 30 years or so ago, when globalization was starting to really become a very prominent thing, the theory was it would bring the world closer together, being more dependent on each other. That seems to have changed now. Can you comment on that and give us your ideas as to what might be happening?
I would say it's still very much alive and well in our business. A big piece of our business is international commerce, and the number of flights and volume that we are moving from the United States to Asia and Europe every day, while maybe down recently, post-COVID, certainly is very strong and frankly growing at a rate that's larger and faster than our U.S. domestic network. So I think it's still strong there. I think what's changing is where are our customers coming from and where are they setting up warehouses? Where are they setting up supply chains in countries today that maybe they weren't 5 or 10 years ago?
Good morning, Mary Ellen Harmon. As a retired nonprofit executive, I almost always had a UPS person on my board. I had teams of your volunteers who did wonderful projects for us. Can you talk a little bit about your corporate culture and how you incentivize their community involvement? Because time off or whatever, you play a role in that wonderful asset to us of community volunteers.
Yeah.
Model for others.
Yeah, as we were talking about earlier, that is very important to all of our employees and as well as our corporation. It's something that we continue to get feedback from our culture survey results about wanting us to be that face in the community because it makes us very proud to be a part of that, right? So there's really no incentivizing. It's just that's the type of employees we have that want to be out helping. It's not hard for us to put together a request. Somebody like yourself comes for a community service event, and we have to cut it off because we have 2 people to sign up and want to come quickly. And they work fast. We've been told many times, y'all did this in half the time. We just know how to get it done. And we have a lot of fun while we're at it too. So I don't think there's any incentivizing. It's just who they are. They know how important it is and want to get back to that community.
Bill, Kevin Fields, and thank you on behalf of the nonprofit community for the type of corporate culture that you have spearheaded. Yes, we all have benefited a lot, so thank you. I did have 2 questions, but Mary already took care of the first one. John led us a few months ago on a fascinating field trip out to your facility where you're doing R&D on drone technology and drone delivery system. I wonder if you could give us an update on where we're at with that.
Yeah, so that's our, we call it UPS Flight Forward. And it started out, the primary focus was on small drones. And we were working in partnership with some critical healthcare customers to deliver test samples across campuses so that we can decrease that transit time. We were also focusing on trying to improve our last delivery mile efficiency from our package cars, because frankly that can be the most time consuming and also the most expensive piece for us. We've kind of pivoted towards a larger type, we call it eVTOL. It's an electric type drone aircraft that can carry more substantial size packages. And now we're partnering with a company called Data Technologies, who is working with us through Flight Forward to expand that footprint. We've signed an agreement with them on so many airplanes for them to produce, to test, and become certified. And I think we're well on the way. And I do think that is a key piece of our future as we look at leveraging how we service our customers, particularly around the United States. I think we're going to get to a bigger hub mentality, leveraging our fastest ground network ever through our tractor trailers and our feeder drivers and so forth, and then supplementing that with the things that you saw at Flight Forward with some of the data airplanes that are coming. So, great.
Bill, my name is Fred Cowan. Thank you so much for being here today, for everything that UPS does for this community. And frankly, I don't think you get the credit you deserve. We really appreciate you and your presence here. My question, not uncomfortable perhaps, but a little different is, in the last 10, 15 years, the world has changed immensely. And one company that has gotten enormously big and profitable and everything else is Amazon. And we know from newspapers and from trucks that show up in front of our houses that Amazon is trying to get into your space, so to speak. And I'm just curious what UPS is how it's addressed this issue and how it might address it in the future.
I may have had that question before. Being one of our largest customers. It's a win-win relationship between both of us. They need us and we need them. So as we continue to work through that relationship, there's things as they've evolved their network, added airplanes to their transportation needs. That's changed what they need us for. And as we've added different customers, like small and medium-sized businesses and critical healthcare, that's changed our need maybe for some of their volume. So we continually go back and forth and find a relationship that works well for both of us. So I'd say it's puts and takes, but we both need each other.
Bill, hi, my name's Tracy Holiday. My brother was a Air Force pilot for his career, retired at the ripe old age of 50. And although he didn't pursue this path, I'm aware that quite a few of your pilots and other parts of your flight crews are former military. What percentage is that, and how has that tracked over the last decade or two? Has it gone up or down?
I'm going to say it's a very high percentage. I believe the number 30% comes to mind. It could be well north of that. We certainly value our veterans, and that is someone who we definitely want to attract, not just in our crew member ranks, but in our mechanics and package handlers and drivers. We value the service. So if it's not above 30%, I would be surprised, but it does make up a large percentage of our employees.
My name is John Currier. I think you've already asked the question. I'll add one more to it. Are you thinking about taking on any ex-Air Force pilots with a little experience, about 92 years old?
Maybe.
Your 88 compliance agrees with that answer. My name is John Bush, and I have a question for you. I'm building something you said a few minutes ago, talking about your company president, Carol, asking what's so special about what makes the airline so special. And I know, or at least I think I know, that UPS always likes to follow up when something is being done well, and you want to do it even better. May I suggest that Atlanta took Papa John's from us? We would be glad to have her come here and bring UPS here so that she and your corporate people can experience the goodness of this community. You don't have to answer, but is that a possibility? You need not answer that.
Maybe I shouldn't.
We're very happy to have the airlines here.
We're really happy to be here. You know, that we do have a lot of employees in Atlanta, not near as many as we have here in Louisville. This is the largest concentration of UPSers around the world, is here in Louisville. But there still are a lot of people there, and never say never. You never know. Companies move headquarters all the time. Boeing moved from Seattle to Washington to Chicago, now they're in DC. So never say never.
Bill, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Two parts. First, you mentioned drones getting bigger and bigger. I assume drones are getting the size of an airplane, 747 or whatever. And if yes, do you have any sense of that timing? And then the second part is about sort of continuation of automation. You saying it's going to get more and more automated. The world port right now, I mean, is it 50% what could be automated? Is it 90? Like, how much more is it actually to do? So, when you see drones the size of planes, big ones, and automation capacity is at what percentage overall?
Yeah. So from an airplane perspective, we're already there. Airplanes today, our airplanes, can take off and land with very little to no input from our crew members. That obviously, and they do that in certain weather conditions, but they're there, right? They're on standby. If a system were to change or go out, we have crew members that can manage. That doesn't happen very often, but the airplane has the capability. There's also capability on future airplanes that are currently being flown and tested that have complete autonomy the size of the airplanes that you're talking about. The challenge is public acceptance. I don't know many passengers who are going to be comfortable anytime soon with getting on a fully autonomous airplane. That's the challenge. So I think what you'll see, and Airbus was talking about just the other day, is probably, they're already starting to do this in the military. That's going to be the first step. And they're doing that with some of the Predator drones and so forth. And they'll start to do that with some of their more advanced airplanes. I think the next progression for commercial aviation is a single pilot, but they've got to further improve the redundancies in the flight capabilities so that they can prove to the authorities that there's so many redundancies that one is capable that that person can be incapacitated. So technically, we're going to get there a lot faster than public acceptance will allow us to. Regarding automation, Worldport is the most automated building we have in our entire network. I would say it's north of 80% automated now. We have still some what we call conventional hub sortation capabilities there. I don't know that we're interested in doing more, but it's about being faster and more efficient. So the footprint won't really allow us to build out any further to do more of that. It's how can we do it better? And how can we do it faster? So for example, now the building is capable of sorting 416,000 packages an hour. We'd like to increase that. How do you do that? Turn up the belt speeds. Well, that causes all kinds of other things that we have to sort out. So that's where we're going.
Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Next week, Lyndon Pryor, the president and CEO of Global Rotary, will be here next week. Please register by noon on Monday, as usual. We'll scan the QR code over there, or register on the screen right now, actually. So, yes, remember, if you want to learn more about our club, meet with one of Rotary over there with Craig Sherman. Just take a few minutes. Good meeting, thanks.